Do mandatory firearms background laws make sense? Many states are considering such laws, often through the initiative process. There's a lot of people who say that every gun purchase should require a background check to keep guns out of the wrong hands. This is a very logical claim, provided such laws actually accomplish that end. A while back, historian Clayton Cramer decided to test this claim. How? It turns out that a number of states have already done these mandatory firearms background checks. There are no gun show loopholes, no exceptions for guns sold to you by a friend. In some states, these laws only apply to handguns. In a few states, all firearms must be transferred through a background check, either at time of transfer or by requiring transfers can only be made to people with firearms owner ID cards or firearms licenses, both requiring a background check to obtain. How do you measure the effectiveness of these laws? Criminologists have long used a technique called interrupted time series analysis. What was the average crime rate in the 5 years before a new law took effect? What was it in the 5 years after the new law? If the crime rate didn't change or went up, the law obviously did not do much. You can't tell much from looking at one state alone. There may be many things affecting crime rates, but if multiple states fail to show improvement, it is a pretty good assumption that the law was not terribly effective. In addition to examining changes in average murder rates, it also helps to know whether changes might be random and unrelated to the new law. Statisticians use the term statistical significance to identify whether these changes might be meaningful or coincidental. In the following graphs, we will identify what happened to murder rates before and after the firearms background check law took effect. We are only doing this for states where we have more than 5 years of murder rate data and the new law taking effect after 1960. The reason is that before 1960, the FBI's murder rate data was neither consistent nor reliable. We will also examine if those changes were statistically significant. If they are not, it argues that the law did not have much effect. On all these graphs, murder rates, in blue, are per 100,000 people and come from the FBI's Uniform Crime Report System. The burnt orange line is the average murder rates for the 5 years before and after the new law took effect. The little black lines show standard deviation and are part of how statisticians determine whether the changes in the averages were significant or not. An asterisk next to the title indicates significant change. California adopted a mandatory firearms background check law taking effect in 1991. As you can see, murder rates rose in the 5 years after the new law. Illinois adopted a firearms owner ID card, which requires a background check, effective in 1968. You could not transfer a firearm to someone unless they had one of those ID cards. Murder rates again rose. Iowa's mandatory background check for handgun transfers took effect in 1978. Again, murder rates rose. Maryland imposed a background check for handgun transfers in 1997. This is one success. Murder rates fell, and fell significantly. Massachusetts imposed a firearms ID requirement effective in 1969. Murder rates again rose. Nebraska imposed a handgun background check law effective in 1992. Murder rates rose. Pennsylvania did likewise in 1998. Murder rates fell, and significantly. Rhode Island, which has had a handgun background check requirement since the 1950s, imposed it on all firearms in 1991. Murder rates fell, but insignificantly. What does this tell us? 8 states passed universal firearms background check laws. Only 2 had significant declines in murder rates. Of the other 6, 5 had increases in murder rates after passages of the law. We would not say this proves background check laws increase murder rates, but it does suggest that if background check laws reduce murder rates, you would not know it from the evidence. Why? Because people that commit murder do not follow the less important laws like background checks. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms has studied where criminally misused guns come from, and they are usually acquired by theft, burglary, or strawman sales, which are also a felony. Before we pass laws, it is a good idea to see if those laws work where they've already been tried. There is a common definition of insanity as trying the same thing again and again and expecting different results. Are voters trying to prove themselves insane?